Welcome to Aussie Nomad Destinations. Follow us as we caravan our way around Australia. This is Ed and I'm Bec, and we're finding you the best free and budget camp spots Oz has to offer. Fishing, crabbing and hiking our way through this awesome country. For notifications, click subscribe and hit the bell, and that will keep you up to date.
Grassy Head Holiday Park is 8 kilometres south of Scott's Head and 5 kilometres north of Stewart's Point.
Good morning. It's very early. The sun's just coming up over there. We booked into the Grassy Head Holiday Park for the next 8 days. It's a privately owned caravan park. It's really small. The beaches are great to swim on, and while we're here we're going to show you around.
It's a beachfront caravan park offering powered and unpowered sites. Most sites have a water tap. It is a sealed road right to the site. The closest shops are about 5 kilometres away, so bring your goods. The sites were roomy with room for both your van and the car. The grounds has lots of trees and grassy sites. It was a pretty quiet area. The amenities were clean and tidy and fairly modern, and offered a laundry at $5 a load. The internet and phone service were a bit hit and miss, and our antenna did the trick again. We are happy campers. There's no pool or playground. It's a back to basics park, and that's what we loved about it. There was also a small camp kitchen on site with barbecues, a barbecue table, pots and pans, but no fridge. Powered sites were $35, unpowered from $30. The walk to the beach was a short sandy stroll over the dune. There were a few steps, or there was a ramp style entry down the reception. There was a little deck on the way down to the beach that we spent most arvos on, watching the colours of the sunset and the beach activities. Our first stop for the day was a swim at the beach. What an amazing way to start the day. I still kick myself every day that we live this way, after so many years of hard work and savings. It's surprising how many people use this beach each morning. There is a day use area at the front gate, and the locals were arriving each morning for walks along the beach. The clarity of the water is still amazing to us. Where we come from, you can't see 2 foot in front of yourself. At the right hand end of the beach there's a sand pool, which looks super inviting, but be warned, the current was super strong, so check it out at low tide. It's about waist deep. After lunch we headed across the road to Yarriabini National Park. We came into the park off Scott's Head Road and ended up working our way back to the caravan park. It's a dirt or gravel track that leads through a few floodways and bridge crossings and into the Pines picnic area. The picnic area offers barbecues, covered picnic tables and toilets, and is set underneath some massive trees. It was super busy when we passed, so there's no footage, sorry. The turn off to the lookout was also here as well. If you keep following the road, it comes back out right across the road from the caravan park. And I think from memory it was about 8 to 10 k's. The next day we set off to Southwest Rocks, 32 kilometres south. We picked up a parcel from the post office and grabbed some prawns from the butcher and found a great spot for a picnic lunch at Horseshoe Bay. We sat in the boat chair and took some other pics, and I'll drop them on Facebook and Instagram. After lunch, we headed to Trial Bay Jail at Arakoon. It's situated on the headland in the Arakoon National Park. It was a $15 entry with our seniors cards. We are at Trial Bay Jail at Southwest Rocks. I'm going to give you a bit of a look around. It's pretty awesome. Let's see if I can find a cell to put Ed in. He's been bad today. He's trying to get in. Might just find a cell and lock him up. Here's a bit of history. Trial Bay got its name from a ship that was wrecked on the coast in 1816. The Trial Bay Jail construction began in 1877, and by 1882 the first cell block took its first guests of 64. When it was finished, it held 128. It's climbing up to the watchtower. Awesome view. Puffing from coming up those stairs. By 1884, the perimeter walls and watchtower were complete, as well as the gatehouse. Between 1899 and 1900, they built the kitchen, scullery and bakehouse. Cell Block B and the toilets were completed, as were the telephone communications and the electric lighting system. The majority of prisoners at Trial Bay, 111 out of the 124, were categorised as licensees, and they had the freedom to fish, swim, play sports when not working. They could also grow beers and were not obliged to wear the prison uniform. Now this is part of the kitchen. It's a 3-room kitchen, and there was the kitchen, the bakery and the scullery. And since we come from a long line of bakers, this was the old baker's oven. And then this is the scullery. Can't believe how thick the walls are. Trial Bay Jail was listed on the New South Wales State Heritage Register on the 14th of May 2010. We loved our visit, such a unique location, and how great are the views. At the very least they would have had cool sea breezes. Allow about an hour to wander around. It's pretty dark in here. No lights, no electricity, no internet, no TV. Ed's just picking one. There is also a campgrounds in the national park that is at the bottom of the hill on the ocean front. The cost is $67 per night for a powered site and $57 for unpowered. There is also a dump point there for public use. How's this little dude standing there waving us goodbye, just like he owns a place. Then we travelled up the Overshot Dam Road. This is where you will find this view from the top of the hill, as well as the Little Bay picnic area. There were picnic tables, toilets and barbecues. Also there's a little dam. In that little dam there is 3 of the biggest orange carp fish I have seen, living their best life. Have you heard of rooster dumping? Well, it's all going on here. We've got kangaroos with roosters. How you going, Skip? What's happening? Hey? What's happening, big fella? Huh? You're pretty quiet? You're nice and quiet. Hey? Off you go. Now we're in the Hathead National Park. We are having a very big day. Now we're climbing up to the Smokey Cape Lighthouse. So we're at Smokey Cape Lighthouse at Hathead. We did have to walk up a rather steep hill for about 75 metres to get here, but in the end it was totally worth it. The view is spectacular. Let me show you. It's a free entry and a free heart rate workout. We laugh at each other as we scramble up the hill, but we get there. Watching 2 young'uns puffing their way up made us feel so much better. It was an awesome view. There was a huge pot of dolphins passed by and some huge schools of fish busting up at the bottom of the cliff. This is pretty steep, and I'm not sure this camera's going to show you how steep it is, but that's our car way the heck down there. Here we go. We're just going to swing by the Hungry Gate Campgrounds just to have a look and show you while we're in the area. We nearly booked here, but we read reviews and wasn't sure if our van would get in. There are all different size sites. If we brought our van in, we would need to do the same road in and out, and it's a one-way loop road. It's a little rough, but it's short, and there were toilets on site. Next morning, after a quick dip, we decided it was fishing day. At the end of the caravan park, there's a dirt road that leads to the beach on the other side of the headland. We loved that we were the only ones there. So good. The New South Wales coastline is pretty busy. We fished for about 2 hours. Ed caught a dart, but he threw it back before I got some footage. Then there was this eagle that just sat there patiently waiting for her moment. We set up the GoPro and left some bait and got some awesome footage. That afternoon we headed down to Stewart's Point footbridge. It's an interesting place. When we first arrived, the creek was as busy as a footbridge. First, there was 3 or 4 groups yabbying on the creek bed. Then there were these huge stingrays getting around under the bridge. We watched them for a while. It must be breeding season, because each time we see these stingrays lately, they're chasing each other around. Then out near the middle of the creek, there were people up to their hips fishing. I'm not sure what they were catching, but they were catching these little fish. They may have been whiting. We finished the walk across the bridge and followed the track to the beach. It's an easy sand and gravel walk, about 1,300 metres return. Today is moving day. One last trip to the beach with camera gear in one hand and coffee in the other. We loved our time at Grassy Heads and would recommend it to all of those who love the convenience of power, toilets and water, without the added unused extras. We're off to Delicate Beach Campgrounds. Keep in contact, stay happy, and we'll see you next week, Sunday at 6 AM.